Welcome to the world of Weatherby. I'm Britt. This is my world. Today is what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 beer can chickens. Of course, one for me and one for Mom. That's what I always do. I always cook her on some good extra food. After all, I'm going to have the smoker. I'm putting these out on the smoker. You can use a grill, you can use an oven, whichever you prefer. You want to cook it to the internal temperature. It's 165 degrees. Then remove it from your heat source, put a little cover over it and let it rest. And that will keep it from drying it out as long as you put the cover over top of it. So you don't want to dry that chicken. But anyway, okay. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub the outside of these birds with some softened butter. And then I'm going to season it with our island rub. I'm going to put some olive oil on the inside of the bird for it can kind of coat the inside of the bird. Since I'm standing the birds up, just throwing a chunk of butter in there won't do any good. Now, if you were just laying it on the side, that's what I'd recommend, because butter always gives something good flavor. And I'm talking real butter, not margarine, not parquet, or whatever any of those other flavors are out there. And that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to cut up some rosemary and we'll chop it a little bit and we'll put it inside the birds. And then we're going to stand the birds up on this and we're going to put a little beer on here. And then we're going to take it out to our, after let it sit for about an hour, I'm going to take it out to the smoker, put it on the smoker, and we're going to cook it to the internal temperature is 165. I'm going to use some apple and some hickory, or maybe I'll use some apple and pecan. And we're going to use that on our Traeger grill. So anyway, let's get started with this. Knife. I don't want to contaminate all the butter. So we just want to rub that bird with that butter. Put it all over it. And we want to roll her over and do the other side. Now, about halfway through the cooking process, if you'd like, you can go out there, you can open the lid and put some more melted butter on top of it, just to kind of baste the bird a little bit, but you're going to have the juice in the bottom of the pan. You can use that. Put a little butter in that pan and that'll give you a really good basting sauce. Now while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you something else I did. On the stove behind me, what I'm doing is I'm making some chicken broth. Anytime I have leftover chicken pieces, as far as where I trim the bird, or the neck, and things like that, then is what I do is I put it in the pan, about 3 cups of water. I cut up some carrots, some onions, some celery, added a little bold and spicy rub to it, seasoning, and we're going to boil it for about an hour. Then we let it chill down, and I vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer for future use. And it's good, and it doesn't have all that salt and sodium in it, just like our seasonings. They're all low in sodium. So we got this bird pretty much looking good. So is what we want to do now, before we get into putting a rub on it, we're going to pour a little olive oil inside there and see if we can move it around a little bit. And that'll help that seasoning stick to the inside of that cavity and make it a little bit more flavorful, because we got to get the seasoning to stick to it. And like I say, we're going to cut some rosemary up, put on the inside of it. But first is what we want to do. Really don't have to cut it up, but I like to open it up and let it release. Just sprinkle that all down in there until it looks like it's coated pretty good. Wish I could show you how to do that, but you can see what I'm doing. Notice I'm not doing the outside yet because I don't want to mess it up and have to do it again. Waste of product. Lord knows we don't need no waste around here. Okay, so there we go, that's that. And we've got a couple of rosemary sprigs. So I just take and I peel them off. See how easy that is? Got a little pile of rosemary there. Big pile of rosemary. And just peel it off the skin with your nails. I like using these gloves when I'm messing with chickens, because chickens can be a nasty mess. Okay, this one's a little different, but anyway, we're just gonna, like I say, pull that off there. Bam. Ha ha. You've heard that before, I'm sure. I know, I do that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we just want to chop that up a little bit and let it release. And that'll help that flavor get into the bird because we disturbed it. So I got a nice little pile back here, as you can see. And so I'm going to put half of it in one bird and half of it in the other bird. And then you want to take and just kind of make sure you get it up in there, let it get all the way around there, rub it inside there. That way it's all over the inside of that cavity and not just in a pile inside there. And if you get a little on the outside, that's fine too. All right, so now we want to cover the outside of the bird. Don't forget the wings. Everybody likes the wings anymore. Used to be everybody threw them away. The other thing you can do, if you like, especially on the breast, is kind of open that up and run your hand up underneath there. And loosen that skin up. And then dump the seasoning down in there. Pull that back over top there. See what happens when you play with it too much? Okay, so there's that one bird. And as what we'll do is we'll take that and we're going to stick it in here. Now this is the first time I use these, so I don't know. I just don't know how good they're going to be. Do too much, that's okay. A little more money on something better. Just cover that bird back up, make sure it's all covered up. And then we're going to let it sit there and rest and absorb. But we've got some old Budweiser. Here's to you. We're just going to pour a little Budweiser in there, or your favorite beer, and that'll steam. And of course the alcohol content will cook off. So now that we got a mess all over our cutting board and everything, I think that's about it on this inside part. We got our birds. We're going to let them sit for about an hour, and we're going to head to the smoker and put them on the smoker. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up this silly mess. Back here on the grill, right we always are, sitting back in front of our smokers. But anyway, we got our chickens. They've been resting for about an hour with the seasoning on them and stuff. Kind of warming up a little bit to room temperature type of thing. So now we're going to throw them on the smoker, take them to 165, and I'm thinking it's going to take about an hour and 20 minutes. Maybe in the last 20 minutes, I might come out here and crank the smoker up. Right now I'm set at 250, and I'll probably take it up to like 325, or whatever the setting is, 325, and that'll help crisp the skin up. And I'll baste it at that time with a little more butter that's going to be in the pan with our beer. And of course then we'll also have the natural flavors of the chicken juices and the seasoning that we put on the bird. So let's do it. Our smoker's at 250, and we're just going to put them in there just like that. It'll make a gravy bowl too if you want. You can use that and add a little flour or something and make a thick sauce to go over top of your bird. You can barbecue your bird, put our barbecue sauce top shelf on it. But then again, you don't want to do that until after at least an hour, and when you're getting close to being done, because You don't want that to burn and blacken. That's it though. Get you here in about an hour or so.
Time to take these birds off this smoker.
Anyway, they've been on there quite some time. A little longer than I suspected. They're about 6.5 pounds, a little over as far as the weight. And so what I did is I ended up keeping it at 250 for about 2 hours. And that should have given them some really good smoke. We added potatoes to it. We'll show all that to you here shortly at some point in this video. And anyway, we're done. We've hit our temperature, and so it's time to take them off. Set them right there. We'll show them all to you here shortly, but that's about it. What we want to do now is we want to get you to subscribe to our YouTube page. We want you to share our page with all your friends. Help us spread the word. I want you to go to weatherby.com and check out our products. Our mustard should be on the shelves again by the time you see this video. We got our jars. We're going in production this coming week. We're working on our new garden rub, getting it in the bottle and getting it out to you guys. It's awesome. It's good, so good on vegetables. You know, the barbecue sauce makes a great dipping sauce with the shrimp and your chicken, ribs, whatever. You don't have to put it on the meat. You enjoy it as you eat the meat, and just use what you want on the meat for each tasty bite. We use the best ingredients that we possibly can. But that's all I got to say tonight. I hope you all have a great week. Come back and see us. And until next time, be good.